Digital transformation is at your door. Our goal at UWI-ROYTEC is to facilitate the development of a skilled workforce, whether it's a degree in information technology or professional development training. Trust UWI-ROYTEC to develop talented people to lead the digital transformation agenda. Register today to begin your digital transformation journey.
UWI-ROYTEC, your path to career success. To learn more, log on to www.roytec.edu.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode in the series of live stream events for 2022. Thank you for spending yet another lunchtime with us. Wherever you are in the world, welcome. We are grateful that you could join us today. I am Genevieve Julien, Manager Corporate Training and Community Engagement at UWI-ROYTEC. We continue our focus on digital transformation. Today's live event is brought to you in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago's Manufacturer Association. We will be discussing digital transformation and the manufacturing sector. Leading the conversation will be my very special guests, Dr. Graham King and Mr. Lorcan Camps, both of whom are active members of the TTMA Productivity Committee. And I'll just share a little bit about them. Introducing Dr. Graham King. He is an automotive engineer in the Department of Mechanical and Manufacturing Engineering at the UWI St. Augustine. He is a chartered mechanical engineer and a member of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers in the UK. Dr. King is chair of the Faculty of Engineering Entrepreneurship Committee, a member of the St. Augustine Campus Innovation Committee, and a member of the University Intellectual Property Subcommittee. He also coordinates the MSc program in Engineering Management, and he chairs the Mechanical and Manufacturing Enterprise Research Center. Dr. King has a passion for university-industry collaborations, and he brokers industry-based projects, has close ties with the Trinidad and Tobago Energy Chamber, and he also serves on the TTMA Productivity Committee. Welcome to Dr. King and our second guest today, Mr. Lorcan Camps. He is an entrepreneurial technologist and the founder and CEO of Neo Digital. He holds an MSc in Information Systems Design and Management from the University of Westminster, London, UK. Mr. Camps has experience in a range of industries, including the manufacturing, retail and distribution, ICT, and services sectors. He has extensive work experience delivering ERP, CRM, HRMS business applications within digital transformation programs for his clients in the US, Europe, and Caribbean markets. Mr. Camps is passionate about the development of digital professionals and quality service providers in order to help to contribute to Trinidad and Tobago's digital economy. Lorcan is an active member of TTMA's Productivity Committee, which is focused solely on the manufacturing sector's digital transformation agenda. A very special welcome to both gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hi, good afternoon there. I'm very well, thank you. Hi, everybody.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Genevieve. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon to you. So let's jump right into the conversation. The strategic intent of the TTMA is to drive an export-driven agenda for the period 2020 to 2025. It aims to double the manufacturing output of Trinidad and Tobago to significantly improve its export capacity. The Productivity Committee was created in early 2020 to facilitate the TTMA's non-energy export strategic plan. So I'll start with Dr. King. Please share with us the role of the Productivity Committee.
Okay, thanks, Genevieve. Yes, so the Productivity Committee exists really to support members of the TTMA, our manufacturers, in becoming more productive in their operations, as the name suggests, productivity. So becoming more productive in both sort of business operations, manufacturing processes, and also their business models. And therefore, are helping them to become more competitive, both locally and very importantly in the export markets. And I think that, as you said in your preamble, the Productivity Committee was established as part of the TTMA's sort of implementation of their non-energy manufacturing export strategic plan, which was launched in the start of 2020. And the Productivity Committee sort of more specifically is really focusing on sort of advanced technology-driven initiatives and in the areas of ICT, well, as we're talking about today, digital transformation, Industry 4.0, labor productivity, improving manufacturing efficiencies, etc. And also has an educational component to it. The Productivity Committee is trying to work to expose the membership to the digital world of best practices that exist out there, and help them to build competencies, and I think very importantly, confidence in the technologies and in our ability to do them and to engage with them. So that's the intention of the Productivity Committee, to really allow the members to sort of sustain their growth, their business growth in the sector, and in that global environment which is changing so fast.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. King. So the work of the Productivity Committee is critical to the digital transformation agenda of the TTMA. Now, you spoke about the concept of Industry 4.0. Can you tell us a little bit more about Industry 4.0 and the role that it plays in digital transformation?
Absolutely. And it's possible that some of the attendees at this have heard me talk about this before, but let me just only give an overview of Industry 4.0. It's a term that is bandied around a lot. It's one of our beautiful management catchphrases these days. It's called Industry 4.0 because it's really trying to describe the fourth industrial revolution. The ones that went before, the first one would have been sort of getting out of the fields and into factories, a lot of manual labor and sort of manual processes. That would have been back in sort of the 1800s, maybe even the late 1700s into 1800s. The second industrial revolution was the one where mass manufacturing started. That was the kind of Taylorism and Henry Ford and that kind of thing. The third industrial revolution is where the manufacturing systems started to become automated, and there's a lot more automation and computer control, in the early days of computerization, in the 1960s into the 70s and 80s. There's a lot of automation of manufacturing processes, but now we're into really a digitally based, highly connected manufacturing environment. And that's what Industry 4.0 describes. So it brings together a lot of different technologies. Not all the technologies are new. So you have things like robotics, but it has new elements to it. Robotics has been around for years, but now your robots are becoming cobots. So a lot of focus now is on the interface between sort of digital and digital systems, automation, and the human in the loop. So you'd include a person, so the human component kind of comes back in a very strong way in Industry 4.0. But also, it's not just what happens inside the factory. Industry 4.0 addresses what happens along the entire value chain, from your very early suppliers providing raw materials right through to your customers. Part of Industry 4, the philosophy in Industry 4.0 is you keep your customer in the loop, so that your customer gives you almost real-time feedback on how your product is doing. And by getting that feedback, it allows you as a manufacturer to continuously improve your product in its performance, but most importantly, in how well it meets the requirements of the customer and how the customer feels about their interface. So you have a lot of connected products that are now feeding back real-time information to the manufacturing plants and to the and that can feed into sort of updates and new product development and so on. So it's very connected, it's very interactive, it's all connected, of course, by this digital technology, which is, of course, kind of pretty much ubiquitous now.
Yes, definitely. So Industry 4.0 is driving the work of the Productivity Committee. But I know that there are also 4 key areas or 4 areas where initiatives are happening. And they are the Learning Factory, Change Management, Skills Training, and Productivity Measurement. For this conversation, Dr. King, I want us to zero in on the Learning Factory. Tell us a bit about this initiative and the work of the Productivity Committee as it relates to the Learning Factory.
Okay, sure. So the Learning Factory is an initiative which it grew, I would say, out of some research being done by Jason Rameshwar, who's one of my PhD students. And the intention is to have a physical facility that, everybody sort of within the manufacturing sector, from technical operators to maintenance people, technical workers, engineers, even executives and business owners can come to and learn the fundamentals of Industry 4.0 and what these connected, integrated systems look like. This is a project which has been sort of put together and formulated as a collaborative project between the TTMA, the University of the West Indies, and MIC Technology Institute. So there's sort of 3 partners in this. MIC, of course, is very accustomed to delivering skills-based training, so they're able to host the center, and so we've identified which equipment we want to use, and we're now trying to find the financing to do it all. So confident that will happen, but the intention is that this facility will be very useful, and it actually allows for the certification of those who wish to go through the training. So there's a skills certification called SEICA. That stands for Smart Automation Certification Alliance. I just happen to have a brochure on my desk. So this is it. It's an institution out of the US. So they're offering the skills certification specifically in Industry 4.0. And the Learning Factory will allow us to, through this collaborative partnership, to deliver training, skills-based training and certification, both the theory part of it and the practical part of it. And hopefully, it also allows for some research to take place using this facility, which would be really nice for us at the university, so we can continue to push forward our research agenda. So that's the Learning Factory.
Most certainly. Thank you, Dr. Camps, for that. And certainly investment in people is critical to the whole digital transformation journey. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But for now, I want to bring Mr. Camps into the conversation. Hello, Mr. Camps. So one of the strategic pillars of the TTMA is to promote the use of technology and other best-in-class innovations in keeping with global developments in the manufacturing sector and to effectively respond to disruptive forces. So share with our audience, what are some of the strategies that the Productivity Committee has employed to facilitate the adoption of new technologies by the TTMA membership?
Sure, thank you. Well, certainly it's more about education and promoting digital and advanced technologies around our members and the manufacturing industry. So it's interesting to note that the price of technology has dramatically fallen and continues to do so in the last couple decades. I recall in 20 years ago, working on manufacturing systems that cost tens of millions of dollars. And therefore, it was pretty much only available for much larger organizations. So what you find is that, the larger manufacturers have invested in this advanced technology. However, the smaller ones have not. So what we want to really let people know is that it is affordable. And not only is it affordable, but also will provide very, very interesting returns. So for example, just this week I was speaking to a small manufacturer. He's a one-man show, and therefore he's having to do a lot of things: promote his business, take orders, deliver, produce the goods, and so forth. We were talking about how a digital system that would allow him to do marketing and be able to take orders online, together with helping him plan his production schedule, and then when it's done, send out messages for drivers to come and collect, therefore automating and giving him much more capability. In a case like that, he could, or a manufacturer could, significantly increase their throughput, by using this type of automation. It's basically two main things: using technology. We're talking about advanced technology, right? Using it to connect, so connect to your customers, connect to your suppliers, connect to the supply chain and the whole value chain, and also automate. Be able to do things automatically, on schedule, using intelligence. Those two things together provide a tremendous capability. And what we're trying to tell, what we've been promoting and letting everyone know, that this technology is affordable. What used to cost tens of millions of dollars now costs tens of thousands of dollars. And an investment in the right technology, you could have a return within months, rather than what used to take years or maybe never be able to afford it.
Okay, Mr. Camps, thanks so much for that. So, but what you have done there is really, debunk some of the myths surrounding the costs associated with digital transformation. And I know that as a technologist, you'd have information about particular platforms and software that is, as you said, quite affordable, that companies can use as they start that digital transformation journey. You've given us the example of a small manufacturer. Can you share with our audience some of those technologies that may be more affordable, that may be widely available out there, that they can adopt to start the process, to start the journey?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, there's this type of software called open source software. Now, open source software is a different type of approach of creating software, as opposed to what we're all accustomed to is commercial software. So commercial software is provided by vendors like Google and Microsoft and Oracle. And And open source is different. It's where the producer of the software provides that software for free of license costs. And it encourages, you might wonder, well, free, what's the catch? The catch is that once it's free to use, but if you modify it, then you put it back into the community. What that creates is a whole community of developers who are working together to build this software. And it's amazing because it's free of licenses. So you might be wondering, well, I've never heard of this. Who uses it? Well, the whole internet runs on open source software. People might have heard of Linux, even Firefox. These are two examples of open source software that are free and available. Now, in the manufacturing sector, there's a lot of software available. There's this thing called ERP. It's called Enterprise Resource Planning. It's the software that manages all of your business, from your sales right through to your inventory and your production. It's called ERP software. So I'd like to encourage the audience to look into this, because there's in fact you know, a lot of open source software out there that is free of licenses, affordable, and available. What it needs, though, is and I'd like to encourage people to not be afraid. It's not that difficult. You know, as soon as people go and they say, well, I have to download this and install that, they kind of glaze over and they kind of like, well, I don't know how to do that. But in fact, I'd like to encourage the audience and people to, you know, not be afraid. It's not that difficult. In particular, there's an open source software out there called Odoo. It's a fantastic software product, and it does pretty much everything that a business may need to do. You could check it out on odoo.com.
All right, fantastic. So you've already given our audience some tips in terms of software that is available, and they can start embracing this digital transformation process. Is there anything else you would like to add in terms of what companies in the manufacturing sector can do to prepare themselves to embrace the digital transformation?
Yes, thank you. The main thing, so I'm right now working with companies who are going through that digital transformation journey right now, some who are considering it, and some who have already completed it and are now optimizing. With that, you know, thinking about the challenges and what people should do to prepare, what I find is the biggest challenge is, you know, what we classify as change management. And it's that humans don't like to change. They like to keep doing things the way they did it yesterday. And unfortunately, in today's world, we need to change. So there's two messages I want to say. First is that in this, you know, coming out of COVID, you know, with the disruptions happening in the market, in adversity, there are opportunities. And now is the time to basically look and start to invest. You may think, well, you know, let me wait until things get better. But in fact, it's not so. Now is the time that you should be looking at making those investments, even if volume is down. The second point I want to make is to embrace the change. What I found is that many times the owners themselves, the managers themselves, they are the ones who are the biggest problem and biggest resistant to change. So you might have the owner of the company or the manager, the person who's actually making the decision, and you know, they're saying to me, well, you know, I'm not sure that this company can take this change. You know, I'm willing, but the others, you know, I'm not sure how my team can do it. But really and truly, it's leaders who really need to embrace the change. Finally, what I would say is that the way that we've been promoting is education. You know, there's a lot of online education. I myself went through a complete re-education just a year ago during the downturn. I went and did all my certification and courses, and you're never too old to learn. So I want to encourage, you know, the message I want to say is to embrace the change, and the best way to do it is through education.
Fantastic. I just want to bring your attention to a question that we have. One of the audience member just wants you to confirm the name of the open source ERP software.
Yes.
I think you spoke of Odoo, is it?
It's Odoo, ODOO.com.
Okay.
ODOO.com.
Thank you so much for that. It's interesting that you spoke about change management and the challenges of people and the leadership and so on as it relates to change management. So definitely we know that digital transformation is much about people as it is about technology. I want to bring Dr. King back on the screen just a bit here. Thank you, Mr. Camps. Dr. King, a strategic goal of the TTMA is to improve production capacity through research, development, and innovation. And a lot of your work surrounds that. Share with us the value of innovation in digital transformation.
Sure, absolutely. So, well, I think that because the digital transformation opens up a whole set of new opportunities for companies to do things that they haven't been able to do before, to do things differently to how they've done it in the past, then the two really do go hand in hand. I mean, the technologies are innovative, but also the use and the way in which the technologies are used are also innovative. I think one of the things that's of relevance for our region is that I think that the technology and digital transformation and Industry 4.0 do offer the opportunity for kind of democratization of the competitive landscape, by which I mean I think it makes global markets a lot more accessible for our regional manufacturers and regional businesses. So I think that innovation aspect is very important, because if we're talking about sort of research, development, innovation, I would make three very clear points which I think are extremely important. Number one, no business can survive without innovation. Because we stand basically on a moving platform aiming at a moving target. Everything in our environment is moving and changing. And I think that will have been extremely tangible to all of us in the last few years. You know, the environment is changing so fast. So if you are a company owner or managers or executives in an organization, you know you have to change. And the way you change is to innovate and to come up with something new, to do things differently in a way that makes you more competitive and able to better access global markets and improve your export base and so on. But secondly, when it comes to research, development and innovation, it's very necessary, but we don't invest nearly enough in our region, and particularly in Trinidad and Tobago, neither on the government side nor on the private sector side do we invest nearly enough in innovation, in research and development. Innovative companies, those that tend to be most profitable globally, churn a very high proportion of their profits back into R&D activities. I mean, they could be, and it should be probably in the region of about 25% of your profits go back into R&D activities. And nationally, we could say a good target for R&D investment is about 3% of our GDP. Do you know where we're at in Trinidad and Tobago right now? We're at about 0.05% of our GDP is invested in R&D activity. That means we're 100 times less than we really need to be in terms of our investment in R&D activities if we really want to be competitive and able to compete on the global level as we go forward. And of course, with the obvious decline in the energy sector that's being experienced right now, we have to, and that's comforted us, we've suffered from Dutch disease, but now we have to be able to build our competitive capability in other economic sectors. And so we have to put, as Lorcan said, we have to start to invest now, even though we're sort of in a time of famine. This is the time to sow, in a sense. And thirdly, firstly, you have to innovate if you want to survive. Secondly, you have to invest, and we're very far behind our investment. But thirdly, the R&D, research, development, innovation is expensive, and you don't get anything for nothing. So kind of second and third points are linked, but it is a costly and expensive venture. And so TTMA does seek to support that and does seek to encourage its members to invest in RDI activities. And because we're kind of behind, we have to develop our research development innovation muscles, so to speak. I think we're also a bit weak in terms of our internal systems and processes in our companies to do the innovation processes. So we have to build those muscles and get better and stronger at doing it. So those are some sort of thoughts on RDI generally. And I think it does tie very much to digital transformation because of this whole new landscape and world of opportunity that's being opened up. It allows us now, as an organization, as a manufacturing company, to interact with your customers in a totally different way, to better understand your customers' needs than you've ever done before. It allows you to have flexible manufacturing processes that allow you to adapt and have more rapid delivery of market-appropriate products. It allows you to really look at your business model and transform that business model and become relevant for a future which is always uncertain. But as we start to get clarity on the future, then it allows us to be flexible and adaptable to that future. So it's very, very critical, I think.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. King. And to be flexible and adaptable, we need to ensure as well that we have skilled workforce, that we have educated people. Mr. Camps spoke about that, about the education side and the training side of digital transformation. And I just want to share here that the TTMA seeks to work collaboratively with UWI-ROYTEC in support of its strategic goal to enhance human resource capacity in the sector. As a strategic partner, UWI-ROYTEC provides career training to facilitate the development of a skilled workforce, which is critical to the advancement of the TTMA's digital transformation agenda. The UWI-ROYTEC SME Toolkit program will enable a trained workforce to continue to advance the manufacturing sector as TTMA guides its members towards fulfilling the goal of doubling local non-energy exports by 2025. Critical to our discussion today is the provision of training for employees so that they gain the knowledge and abilities necessary to fulfill the specific requirements of their jobs. We encourage the membership to access our upcoming training courses. You see them on your screen. The two modules are Innovation and New Product Development and Information and Communications Technology. They're both happening this month. Innovation and New Product Development begins on April 20th, and Information and Communications Technology Management, April 26th. These two modules have been specially designed to support the TTMA membership as it begins to engage in this digital transformation journey. These specialized training programs are offered to the TTMA membership with the overall goal of making available much needed technical training, which will lead to increased productivity, efficiency, and profitability of the local small and medium enterprises. Visit our website at www.roytec.edu to register. Reach out to us in the corporate training unit at 225-1299 extension 2119, or please send us an email at corporatetraining@roytec.edu. There's not much time left to register. Please do reach out to us. Let us bring our guests back for a final words and closing comments. So, gentlemen, the floor is open for some final words.
Go ahead, Lorcan, after you.
Mr. Camps first, yes?
Yeah. I'd like to repeat the message that I sent, which is that, now is the time. It's there's never been a better time to invest in technology. It's never been at a better price performance. It's now is the time. So, don't be afraid. Educate yourself, learn about the technology, and you'll find it's really not hard and it's not expensive. So I just want to encourage everyone to go ahead and look at it and make that change. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Dr. King, final words?
Yeah, I think I would just underscore again the issue of the need for investment, number one, and number two, the opportunity for business model transformation and doing things differently. And I think you said it well, Genevieve, that it's not just about the technology. Right now, as Lorcan said, the technology is quite affordable in many cases. And I think our manufacturers could reach to the technology. The issue is, do we have the confidence, do we have the skills to use that technology in a way that allows us to do business differently and therefore put ourselves on a very different competitive platform and really, from our small corner of the earth, sort of punch above our weight and be able to compete in global markets, which is what we need to do if we're going to double our exports by 2025, our non-energy exports.
Thank you for that, Dr. King. And that's a fantastic place for us to end today. And that's a wrap, people. We trust that you have benefited from today's discussion on digital transformation and the manufacturing sector. Special thanks to my guests, Dr. Graham King and Mr. Lorcan Camps, members of the TTMA Productivity Committee. Thank you, gentlemen, for leading this very informative discussion today. Stay tuned for details on our next live event on Thursday, the 21st of April, same time, 12 noon. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Genevieve.
Thanks, Genevieve.
Digital transformation is at your door. Our goal at UWI-ROYTEC is to facilitate the development of a skilled workforce, whether it's a degree in information technology or professional development training. Trust UWI-ROYTEC to develop talented people to lead the digital transformation agenda. Register today to begin your digital transformation journey.
UWI-ROYTEC, your path to career success. To learn more, log on to www